I found out my boyfriend was cheating through a pasta sauce commercial. Not even a good commercial, one of those local cable ads with bad lighting and worse acting. I was sitting on my couch eating ice cream directly from the container because that's what you do when you're 26 and single and your life feels like a series of unfortunate events written by someone with a cruel sense of humor. The commercial came on, showing a happy couple cooking together, laughing over a pot of marinara. The woman tossed her hair and smiled at the camera. My ice cream spoon froze halfway to my mouth. That was my boyfriend, Marcus. And the woman throwing pasta at him playfully, that was definitely not me. I rewound the DVR 3 times, each viewing making my blood pressure spike higher. There he was, Marcus Chen. Wait, I can't use that name. Marcus Williams, my boyfriend of 2 years, looking absolutely smitten with some blonde I'd never seen before. They had chemistry, the kind of chemistry that doesn't happen in a single day of commercial filming, the kind that develops over late-night rehearsals and shared coffees and lies told to girlfriends about working late. I grabbed my phone and called him immediately. He answered on the fourth ring, sounding distracted. "Hey babe, what's up?" I could hear that woman's laugh in the background. "Who is she?" I asked, my voice surprisingly calm considering my heart was doing gymnastics in my chest. "Who's who?" Marcus said, and I could practically hear him calculating how much trouble he was in. "The blonde in your pasta sauce commercial, the one you're currently with based on the giggling I hear?" Silence. Long, guilty silence. Then, "Sky, I can explain. That's me, Sky Morrison. Actually, I need to change that. Sky Blackwell." And in that moment, hearing my name said with that guilty inflection, I knew Marcus Williams couldn't explain anything except how he'd been a lying, cheating disaster of a human being. "Her name is Amber," he finally said, like that answered everything. "We met at the audition. Things just happened." Things just happened. Like he'd tripped and fallen into a relationship while fully committed to another one. "So you're breaking up with me," I said flatly, "for a woman you met at a pasta sauce audition?" He had the audacity to sound annoyed. "You're making it sound ridiculous. Amber and I have a connection, real chemistry. She understands my artistic vision." I laughed then, a sharp sound that scared my cat off the couch. Marcus was a part-time actor who'd done 3 commercials and a hemorrhoid cream ad. His artistic vision extended to memorizing lines and not tripping over props. "We're done," I told him. "Come get your stuff from my apartment tomorrow. And Marcus, I hope that pasta sauce commercial plays on every channel forever, reminding you that you gave up a real relationship for manufactured chemistry and marinara." I hung up before he could respond, threw my phone across the room, it bounced off a pillow, sadly, and returned to my ice cream with renewed fury. My roommate Zara came home 20 minutes later to find me on my second pint, mascara running, watching the pasta commercial on repeat. "Oh no," she said, dropping her bags. "What happened?" I pointed at the TV. "Marcus happened. With her." Zara watched the commercial, her expression darkening with each passing second. That absolute piece of garbage. And she looks like she uses live, laugh, love unironically. I couldn't help but laugh through my tears. Zara had a gift for insults that felt both creative and oddly specific. She sat down next to me, grabbed the ice cream, and we ate in solidarity. "You know what you need?" she asked after we'd demolished the pint. "Revenge. The kind that makes him realize what he lost. The kind that goes viral." I looked at her skeptically. "I'm a graphic designer, Zara, not a revenge mastermind." She grinned, wild and determined. "Lucky for you, I am." Zara worked in social media marketing for a firm that specialized in making things go viral. She understood algorithms, trending topics, and the dark art of making content that people couldn't stop sharing. "First," she said, pulling out her laptop, "we need to know everything about Amber. Social media, job, friends, weaknesses. You can't plan good revenge without reconnaissance." I felt a twinge of guilt that lasted approximately 3 seconds. Marcus and Amber had humiliated me. They'd carried on behind my back, laughed together while I was home alone, made a commercial that would air during prime time. They deserved whatever was coming. Finding Amber online was embarrassingly easy. Her Instagram was public, filled with selfies and motivational quotes, and pictures of her and Marcus that dated back 3 months. 3 months. He'd been cheating for 3 months, and I'd been completely clueless, thinking our relationship was fine while he was auditioning for pasta commercials and apparently a replacement girlfriend. Amber's bio read, actress, model, influencer, living my best life, star. She had 42,000 followers, which seemed impressive until Zara explained that at least 20,000 were probably bought bots. She's an aspiring influencer, Zara said, scrolling through Amber's posts with the focus of a detective. She's trying to build a brand. Look, sponsored posts, collaboration requests, desperate attempts to seem important. One post caught my attention. Amber standing in front of a makeup store, caption reading, "Excited to announce my partnership with Glamour Girl Cosmetics. Use code AMBER20 for 20% off. Hashtag ad, hashtag beauty, hashtag sponsored." The post had been up for 2 weeks. It had 300 likes and 5 comments, 3 of which appeared to be from Amber's other accounts based on the similar writing style. "She's got a sponsorship deal," I said slowly, an idea forming. Zara caught on immediately, her eyes lighting up with dangerous excitement. And sponsorship deals depend on reputation, on image, on not being associated with anything scandalous or controversial. We looked at each other and smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. The plan evolved over the next 3 days, refined and perfected until it was beautiful in its simplicity. We would expose Marcus and Amber's affair in the most public, humiliating way possible, not by being cruel or dishonest, but by simply telling the truth in a way that would resonate with thousands of people who'd been cheated on and wanted justice. Zara called it weaponizing authenticity. I called it fair payback for 2 people who'd treated me like I was disposable. We started by creating a TikTok account under a pseudonym, @TheOtherWomanSpeaks. The first video was simple. Me sitting in my apartment, no makeup, eyes still puffy from crying, speaking directly to the camera. "Hi, my name is Sky, and 3 days ago I found out my boyfriend of 2 years was cheating on me. I discovered it through a pasta sauce commercial where he and his new girlfriend had the kind of chemistry you don't fake. They've been together for 3 months. 3 months of lies, late nights, at rehearsal, and me being the idiot who believed him." I paused, took a breath, let the emotion show. This isn't a hate video. This is just my truth. Because when you get cheated on, especially when the person who helped destroy your relationship is trying to build a career as an influencer, you have 2 choices: stay silent or speak up. I'm speaking up. The video ended. Zara uploaded it at 9 p.m. on a Thursday, the optimal time for engagement, according to her marketing expertise. We tagged it with trending hashtags: hashtag cheating, hashtag infidelity, toxic relationships, influencer gone wrong. Then we waited. The first hour, nothing happened. 20 views, 3 likes, 1 comment from a bot selling cryptocurrency. I felt deflated. Maybe revenge wasn't meant to be viral. Maybe the universe was telling me to move on like a normal person and process my feelings through therapy instead of social media. But Zara just smiled and refreshed the page. Give it time. The algorithm is just waking up. By midnight, the video had 5,000 views. By morning, 50,000. By the afternoon, it had crossed 500,000, with comments flooding in from people sharing their own cheating stories, tagging friends, and, most importantly, figuring out who Amber was. The internet is scary good at detective work when motivated. Within 6 hours, someone had matched my description to Marcus's commercial, found Amber's Instagram, and posted the connection. The comments on Amber's page transformed from generic compliments to questions. Is this true? Did you steal someone's boyfriend? How can glamour girls sponsor someone like this? Amber's carefully curated image was cracking. Zara posted a follow-up video that evening. This one showed screenshots of Marcus and Amber's Instagram posts, their couple photos starting 3 months ago, overlaid with dates and timestamps proving the affair. No narration, just facts set to sad music. The video was captioned, "Let the evidence speak for itself." It got 1 million views in 8 hours. News outlets picked it up. Local blogs wrote articles. The pasta sauce commercial became infamous, with people creating memes and reaction videos. Marcus's phone probably exploded with notifications. I knew mine had. Messages from old friends, acquaintances, even people I didn't know offering support and encouragement. Glamour Girl Cosmetics noticed. They had to. Their social media was flooded with comments demanding they drop Amber as a sponsor. "How can you support someone who breaks up relationships?" one comment read. "If this is who represents your brand, I'm never buying your products again," said another. On day 5, Glamour Girl posted a statement. "We've become aware of recent allegations involving one of our ambassadors. We take these matters seriously and are conducting a review. Our brand values integrity and respect." By day 6, Amber's code was deactivated. By day 7, they'd officially ended their partnership. Amber posted a crying selfie with a long caption about cancel culture and not knowing the full story. The comments were merciless. Marcus tried to do damage control. He posted his own video, looking serious and apologetic, explaining that relationships are complicated and sometimes people grow apart, and we should all practice forgiveness. The internet ate him alive. Comments pointed out that growing apart usually involves breaking up before starting a new relationship, not conducting a 3-month affair. Someone edited his pasta sauce commercial to include a Pinocchio nose that grew every time he smiled at Amber. It got 3 million views. His acting agent dropped him. The commercial was pulled from rotation. His artistic vision was apparently less important than not being a viral symbol of infidelity. But the real consequence came from an unexpected source. Amber's ex-boyfriend, a guy named Troy who'd been suspiciously absent from her Instagram for 4 months, saw the videos and reached out to me directly. "She did the same thing to me," his message read. "Started dating the guy she said was just a friend from acting class while we were still together. When I found out and confronted her, she gaslit me and told everyone I was controlling and jealous. Thank you for exposing her pattern." He had receipts, texts, emails, proof of Amber's previous affair. With his permission, Zara created a 3rd video showing the pattern. 2 relationships destroyed by the same person using the same tactics. The story exploded even bigger. Major news sites picked it up. Morning talk shows discussed it. A relationship therapist did a whole segment on serial cheaters and their patterns. Amber's follower count dropped from 42,000 to 18,000 in 3 days, and those remaining were mostly people there to leave mean comments. She deleted her Instagram, her TikTok, her Twitter. She essentially erased herself from the internet, her influencer dreams vaporized by the truth. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt exhausted. Zara noticed. "Having second thoughts?" she asked one evening as we watched my latest video hit 2 million views. "I don't know," I admitted. "I wanted revenge. I got it. They both lost their careers, their reputations, their futures. But I don't feel better. I just feel tired." Zara nodded slowly. "That's because revenge is like junk food. It tastes good in the moment, but leaves you feeling sick after. You got justice, which you deserved, but now you have to figure out what comes next, because you can't build a life on someone else's downfall." She was right, as usual. I'd been so focused on exposing Marcus and Amber that I hadn't thought about my own future. What did I want beyond their destruction? The answer came from an unexpected place. A literary agent reached out asking if I'd considered writing a book about my experience. "Your story resonated with millions of people," her email read. "There's power in what you've shared. I think there's a book here about healing, boundaries, and finding yourself after betrayal." A book? Me? I'd never considered myself a writer beyond snarky Instagram captions. But the idea stuck in my head, growing roots. Maybe I could turn this nightmare into something meaningful. Maybe I could help other people going through the same thing. Maybe revenge wasn't the end of my story, but the beginning of a new chapter. I met with the agent, a sharp woman named Patricia, who wore power suits and had a handshake that could crush stones. "Your story is compelling," she said over coffee, "but what makes it sellable is your voice. You're funny, you're honest, you're relatable. You didn't become a villain in your revenge. You became someone people want to root for." She slid a contract across the table. "I can get you a book deal. Good money, major publisher. But you need to decide if you're ready to tell your whole story, including the messy parts where maybe you weren't perfect either." I thought about that. About the nights I'd been distant with Marcus, focused on work, not making effort. About the times I'd ignored small red flags because acknowledging them was inconvenient. I wasn't perfect, I told Patricia. I was distracted and probably took him for granted sometimes. But that doesn't excuse cheating. That doesn't justify betrayal. If he was unhappy, he should have talked to me or left me, not started a secret relationship while pretending everything was fine. Patricia smiled. That's exactly the nuance readers want. Not a revenge fantasy where you're the innocent victim, but a real story about real people making real mistakes and real choices. That's what connects with people. I signed the contract. 3 months later, I had a book deal with a major publisher. 6 months after that, I had a finished manuscript. 9 months after Marcus's pasta sauce commercial destroyed my relationship, I had a published book titled How I Went Viral, a Cheating Story. The book did well, really well. It hit bestseller lists, book clubs read it, podcasts interviewed me. I went on a 12-city book tour, speaking to audiences who'd followed my story from the beginning and new readers who just wanted a good revenge tale with actual depth. At every event, people asked the same question. Do you regret it? Do you regret exposing them? My answer evolved over time. At first, I said no, they deserved it. But eventually, my answer became more complicated. I don't regret telling my truth, I'd say. But I learned that revenge is empty if it's your only goal. What mattered wasn't destroying them. What mattered was rebuilding myself. Marcus reached out a year after everything happened. A simple email. "I read your book. You were right about everything. I'm sorry for what I did. I hope you're happy now." I stared at that email for 3 days before responding. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Part of me wanted to send a snarky reply. But mostly, I just felt indifferent. He was a person I used to know who'd made bad choices. His apology didn't change the past, but it didn't hurt me anymore either. I wrote back, "Thank you for the apology. I am happy. I hope you've learned from your mistakes. Take care." Then I deleted his email address and moved on with my life. Amber never reached out. According to mutual acquaintances, she'd moved to a different city and quit trying to be an influencer. She worked at a normal job, kept her social media private, stayed out of the spotlight. Part of me felt guilty about that. Had I destroyed her life over a mistake? But then I remembered Troy, her previous victim. I remembered the calculated way she'd built her brand while destroying my relationship. Some people face consequences for their actions. That's not cruelty. That's just reality. I hoped she learned something. I hoped she became better. But that wasn't my responsibility anymore. The real surprise came 18 months after my first viral video. A production company reached out wanting to option my book for a limited series. "We think your story could be the next big streaming hit," the producer said over Zoom. "The revenge plot is compelling, but what really sells it is your character growth. You start as someone hurt and angry, and you end as someone who's found themselves. That's a complete arc." They offered enough money that I had to sit down and breathe into a paper bag. Zara, now my manager, because apparently I needed one, negotiated an even better deal that included me as a consulting producer. I'd have input on the script and casting. I'd help tell my own story. Filming started that fall. They cast a talented actress named Quinn to play me, someone who could do comedy and drama, and made the revenge feel cathartic instead of mean-spirited. The actor playing Marcus was almost too good-looking, which I found hilarious. "Are we sure he's douchey enough?" I asked the director during table reads. She laughed. Don't worry, we'll make him very douchey. The actress playing Amber was perfect, beautiful, but with an edge that suggested calculated ambition. Watching actors portray the worst period of my life felt surreal, like watching a car accident in slow motion, except the car was your past and the accident was your terrible relationship choices. The series premiered a year later to massive buzz. Critics loved it, audiences binged it, social media exploded with reactions, memes, and debates about revenge ethics. Some people thought I'd gone too far, others thought I hadn't gone far enough. Most people just enjoyed the drama and connected with the emotional truth underneath. The show's success led to speaking engagements at universities about social media ethics, panels about infidelity and healing, and opportunities I never could have imagined back when I was eating ice cream and discovering my boyfriend's betrayal through a pasta commercial. 3 years after that fateful commercial, I was living a completely different life. I'd written 2 more books, both bestsellers. I had a successful consulting business helping people tell their stories authentically. I'd moved into a beautiful apartment with a home office and a cat named Karma, because I'm nothing if not on brand. Zara lived 2 floors down, still managing my career and creating viral content for other clients. We'd gone from roommates to business partners to best friends who'd survived chaos together. She was the sister I'd chosen, and I was grateful every day that she'd been there when my world fell apart. I started dating again, cautiously at first. There was James, who seemed perfect until I discovered he'd lied about being divorced. There was Kyle, who was actually great but wanted kids immediately and I wasn't ready. There was Hannah, a brief exploration that taught me I was definitely straight but appreciated good energy regardless of gender. Then there was Alex, a teacher I met at a bookstore who'd never seen my viral videos and had no idea who I was. We bonded over mystery novels and terrible coffee shop pastries. 6 months later, he was still around, patient and kind, and nothing like Marcus. He made me believe that not everyone was a disaster waiting to happen. People often asked if I'd ever encountered Marcus or Amber again. The answer was no, not in person, though I'd heard through mutual friends that Marcus had moved to California to find himself, which apparently involved bartending and very occasional commercial work. Amber remained a mystery, vanished from public life entirely. Sometimes I wondered if she hated me. Probably, but I'd made peace with that. I'd told my truth, and the consequences had been severe but deserved. I hadn't manufactured lies or exaggerated facts. I'd simply exposed what they'd done and let the internet decide how to respond. If that destroyed their careers, they'd destroyed them themselves through their choices. The most unexpected outcome came 2.5 years post-Revenge. I received a message from a woman named Cassidy who'd watched the series and read my books. "Thank you," her message began. I was in a relationship where I was being cheated on, gaslit, and made to feel crazy for suspecting the truth. Your story gave me the courage to leave. I'm rebuilding my life now, and I wanted you to know that your mess helped me escape mine. I cried reading that message. Then I read 20 more just like it. People who'd found strength in my story. People who'd set boundaries, demanded respect, left toxic relationships. My revenge had accidentally become someone else's inspiration. That's when I understood what Zara had meant about revenge being empty if it's your only goal. The revenge itself, destroying Marcus and Amber's careers, hadn't healed me. What healed me was what came after: the book, the series, the connections with people who'd experienced similar pain, the slow rebuilding of my self-worth. Revenge had been the spark, but growth was the fire that actually kept me warm. I'd spent months focused on their downfall when I should have been focused on my rise. Fortunately, I'd managed both. But if I could do it over, I'd spend less time planning their destruction and more time planning my reconstruction. On the 3-year anniversary of the pasta sauce commercial that changed my life, Alex and I had dinner at an expensive restaurant I could now afford thanks to book royalties and streaming deals. Over dessert, he asked me the question everyone eventually asked. Do you think you'd be here, this successful and happy, if Marcus hadn't cheated? I considered it honestly. Maybe not, I admitted. The betrayal destroyed me, but it also freed me. I was coasting in that relationship, in my job, in my life. His cheating was the earthquake that shattered my foundation, and when I rebuilt, I built something better, something mine. Alex smiled. So, in a weird way, you should thank him. I laughed. Absolutely not, but I can acknowledge that good things came from bad circumstances. We went home that night to my apartment. Our apartment now, since Alex had moved in last month with his collection of books and his ridiculous coffee maker that made 17 types of espresso. Karma the cat had accepted him, which I took as a sign of good character. We curled up on the couch, and for nostalgia's sake, I found the infamous pasta sauce commercial on YouTube. It had 5 million views and comments that were still brutal 3 years later. "That's the worst acting I've ever seen," Alex commented, "and the pasta looks overcooked." I kissed him, grateful for perspective and time and the weird journey that led from that commercial to this couch. My phone buzzed with a notification. Another message from someone who'd read my book and wanted to share their story. Another person finding courage in my chaos. I responded with encouragement and resources, then put my phone away. The revenge was over. The healing continued. The future stretched ahead, uncertain but mine to shape. I'd learned that you can't build a life on someone else's downfall, but you can build one on your own rise. That love should be honest or not at all. That sometimes the worst things that happen to us become the best stories we tell. And that revenge, when done right, isn't about destroying someone else, it's about reclaiming yourself. 4 years later, I was invited to speak at a social media ethics conference about my experience. The irony wasn't lost on me, from viral revenge to viral expert. During the Q&A, a young woman asked, "If you could go back, would you still post those videos?" I thought about everything that had happened, the book deals, the series, the speaking engagements, the lives I'd apparently helped by sharing my pain. Then I thought about Marcus's destroyed acting career, Amber's vanished influencer dreams, the permanent digital record of their worst mistakes. I don't know, I answered honestly. The outcome was incredible for me, but I also unleashed something I couldn't control. The internet is merciless. Maybe they deserved consequences, but did they deserve to be destroyed? I'm still figuring that out. That ambiguity stayed with me. Success hadn't erased my questions about revenge ethics. If anything, it had complicated them. I'd helped people by sharing my story, but I'd also potentially ruined lives. The balance between justice and cruelty was thinner than I'd realized when I'd posted that first tear-filled video. These days, when people asked for advice about exposing their own cheating partners, I was careful. Tell your truth, I'd say, but understand that once something goes viral, you lose control of the narrative. Make sure you're ready for consequences you can't predict. Some people listened, others didn't. The cycle continued. Marcus sent another email 5 years after the original incident. "I'm getting married," it read, "to someone kind, honest, and nothing like who I was when we dated. I wanted you to know I've changed. I wanted to thank you, actually. What you did was brutal, but I needed that wake-up call. I was a terrible person, and public humiliation made me face that. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm grateful for who I became after." I read that email 3 times, feeling complicated emotions I couldn't name. Part of me was happy he'd grown. Part of me was bitter that my pain had been his lesson. Mostly, I felt tired of carrying this story. I wrote back, "Congratulations on your wedding. I'm glad you've grown. I've moved on too. I think we can both let this go now." He responded with a simple, "Thank you. Good luck with everything." Amber remained a mystery until year 6, when Troy, her ex who'd helped expose her pattern, reached out with unexpected news. "Amber contacted me," his message read. "She apologized, really apologized, not the fake Instagram kind. She's in therapy, working on herself, trying to understand why she hurt people. She asked me to tell you she's sorry too, if I ever spoke to you. She knows she can't contact you directly after everything, but she wanted you to know." I sat with that information for days. Part of me wanted to respond with something cutting. Part of me wanted to ignore it entirely. But eventually, I sent Troy a message. Tell her I accept her apology. I hope she's genuinely changed. I hope she's happy. The truth was, 6 years later, I barely thought about Marcus and Amber anymore. They were characters in a story I'd told so many times, they'd become fiction in my mind. My real life had moved far beyond that moment of betrayal. Alex and I got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Zara was my maid of honor, obviously. We honeymooned in Italy, where I didn't think about revenge once, and only thought about pasta in the context of delicious food, not relationship-ending commercials. I wrote more books about different topics. I started a podcast about resilience. I lived. The streaming series got renewed for a second season that explored what happened after the revenge, my book tour, my healing process, Alex's entrance into my life. It was less dramatic than season 1, but more honest, showing that recovery isn't linear and that sometimes you still cry about old wounds even years later. Critics called it unexpectedly mature and a meditation on growth. Audiences loved it. We got nominated for awards. I walked red carpets and gave interviews and somehow became the face of healthy revenge, which was both hilarious and slightly horrifying. But I owned my story, complications and all. Looking back now, 7 years after that pasta sauce commercial changed everything, I understood something crucial. Revenge doesn't heal you, but it can be the catalyst for healing yourself. The viral videos didn't fix my broken heart. Therapy, time, and choosing better people did that. But they did give me agency when I felt powerless. They gave me a voice when I'd been silenced by betrayal. They transformed my pain into something that helped others. That wasn't nothing. That was, in fact, everything. So while I'd never tell someone to copy my revenge playbook, I wouldn't take it back either. Sometimes the messiest chapters become the most meaningful stories. My life now barely resembled the person who'd eaten ice cream and discovered betrayal through bad advertising. I'd built a career from chaos, found love after devastation, and learned that the best revenge isn't destroying someone else. It's becoming so completely yourself that their betrayal becomes just a footnote in your larger story. Marcus and Amber would always be part of my history, but they weren't my present or future. They were the earthquake, I was the rebuild, and what I'd constructed from those ruins was stronger, truer, and entirely mine. That felt like victory enough.